right, Mike, it's deciding time. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. It's your weekly source for smart discussions about dumb games. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb. With me is my cohort and subordinate, Mike Minotti.
I'm neither of those things.
You are my cohort and subordinate. Get used to it. In today's episode, we're talking about Pokemon Go, Super Mario Run, Nintendo Switch. It's a lot of Nintendo stuff. We're going to cap it off with Call of Duty. But to start, I'm always want to tell you guys kind of a little bit more about us. We're GamesBeat.com. You can always get more of us there. You can also email the podcast at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com. That's the plus sign in there, not the word plus. Finally, if you like what you're listening to, please subscribe. We're on podcatchers, which is Mike's favorite word. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, all that stuff. And if you're on iTunes, please leave us a review. It really helps people find the show. Discover it on their own, so we don't have to go out and yell about it anywhere. Mike, it's been a week since we talked. What you been up to?
It's been more than a week. I was gone last week.
Were you gone last week? Okay, yeah. See, I'm already losing track of stuff. I'm losing my mind. It's that time of year.
I was in Florida, right? No, wait, where's that the week before? Maybe you're right.
I think I might be right, Mike. I think you're wrong. Mike's wrong.
No, yeah, things are good. Just doing all that Christmas stuff. Buy all of it. I mean, everything but shopping. I still need to do that, but it's fun.
I know you're a big. The reason you were gone 2 weeks ago is because you were at Disney World.
Right.
I know you're big into these theme parks, things like that, or whatever they're called. I know you know the difference between a theme park and an amusement park and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Nintendo is starting to come out with what they're doing with Universal. They posted a picture, I think, to Twitter last night of kind of a digitized look of Super Nintendo World. Can you tell me about it, just to kind of kick off the podcast?
Well, it's interesting because we still don't really know too much about it, except from this one concept image they showed, right? Where you can make some things out. Like, you can very clearly see Peach's castle, kind of much as it looks, like Mario 64 or whatnot. You can see what looks like Bowser's castle in the distance. And then the really interesting thing, which appears to be a ride, is like this kind of multi-level, kind of like grassy hill thing. But, it's like very blocky, like how you would expect from a Mario. And that seems to somehow be a ride. So it's just really cool because there is still a lot we don't know. The weird thing is, in that picture, it looks more like Super Mario World, right? Right. It was all Mario right there.
Yeah, there's a ton of Mario. I didn't see anything else. What did I don't even think there's anything else hidden. I saw Bowser's castle for a moment when I was looking at my phone. Is that Ganondorf's castle? Or
that's
something
exactly
like that?
What I thought.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's not.
No, and yeah, that's kind of like the interesting thing, right? Is what else is this going to... Like, Mario's obviously the safe bet. It's going to be the centerpiece. Right. But you would expect something Zelda, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of implied that in the video they did a few weeks back, where I think they had Miyamoto and some guy from Universal talking about it. And I think they specifically mentioned Mario and Zelda, or they played, music from both games or something like that without mentioning specifics. So yeah, I'm expecting Zelda.
Yeah, I imagine those would be the two big things, and there might be some area of and the rest of them. As much as I would love a Metroid ride, I don't know if that's quite the other one that would be Pokemon, but I don't think Nintendo has the ability to give out theme park rights for Pokemon.
Yeah, they'd have to go through the Pokemon Company, and that's not what this is going to be, I don't think.
No.
So that'll be very different. But I mean, what kind of? So are you expecting a bunch of rides? Or are you expecting just kind of smaller attractions?
I'm expecting a few rides. It looks almost kind of like a Harry Potter size expansion. This is kind of the weird escalation thing that, and that's why it's so good that Universal and Disney are right next to each other, because they have this kind of competition now where Universal did Harry Potter Land, giant hit. So then Disney responded with Avatar Land, which is opening up pretty soon, and now Star Wars Land. And now I think this is kind of the next thing from Universal is this Nintendo stuff. So it's going to be pretty extensive. That was always kind of my fear, how all out are they going with this? And the impression you get just from looking at that concert, oh, this is a whole section of that park. It's going to be a big deal.
And Nintendo can support that. Nintendo's, their characters are known globally, and they're
right.
They have that appeal. So they can do a Harry Potter sized expansion, and I think it'll pay off for them. It'll get people like me to come down for sure.
No, yeah, oh God, yeah. Yes, this is fun for me because if I wasn't a video game journalist, I would love to be a theme park journalist, just talking about this stuff. So, and I'm always hearing these stories. Well, I always hear these stories about the press events for when these things open. I'm oh, I'm gonna go to the Nintendo World press event thing. It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna let you go.
Is the name slightly surprising? Super Nintendo World. Like it makes because the word Super Nintendo is in there. Like that's what I think of.
Yeah, me too. I feel like that is Universal saying we really want this, and Nintendo. I don't think that's something Nintendo would have came up with. They probably were like, I don't know if we even want to do that at all. But I think Universal's like, no, it's got to be had like that kind of like name appeal, and it's got to have the Super Mario
that's
World.
Such a
like,
'90s Nintendo thing. Like they used to love Super, and like we haven't heard Super from them in a while.
Yeah, I just think I bet that's what like the marketing department at Universal's like. Nope, you have to do this if we're gonna make this work.
Oh, so I think they know.
Yeah,
in fact, World is kind of the big thing with all these new theme park expansions. Like Harry Potter Land, we call it that. It's actually called Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I think the Avatar thing is called World of Avatar, something like that, or Pandora, the World of Avatar. So
I think they want to imply a Disney World size experience for all these bespoke areas.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's right.
Other stuff happening. You been playing any good games over the last week or so?
I'm finally diving into the Titanfall 2 campaign because like I was just delayed on that because when that came out, first I had to review Watch Dogs 2, then I was playing Pokemon, then I was playing Final Fantasy, and I had a week to beat Final Fantasy before my trip, so it was something of like a race to do. So that just now I'm like, all right, I can finally play through this campaign, and yeah, it's real good.
It's a real good game, right? Without giving anything away, where are you at?
I did that cool thing everybody talks about that they don't want to spoil.
That's a very cool thing.
I did it, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I could play a whole game like this."
Yes, for real. Now it's kind of amazing that it's just one level that they kind of had that the restriction on themselves not to like just take that and do that over and over and over.
Do you think it's? I still think that the release timing of that game is the most bizarre I've maybe ever seen.
Yeah,
and I feel like that game's maybe not doing as well as it should.
Like, it's not doing as well as it should. It should be doing so much better. It is the best shooter out of all of the ones that came out, at least after Overwatch. And it's the best of that type that has both the single player and the multiplayer.
But I feel like it's not going to come. It's not coming close to Battlefield or Call of Duty numbers. It might be to me.
Yeah, it might be. I think it's easily performing the worst out of all of them. EA said they're committed to the series, and Vince Zampella, the director of that studio, Respawn, hilariously said in I think an interview with Glixel, he's like, whatever the fuck that means. Like the PR person said that right next to him, and he's like, whatever the hell that means. I think
Respawn kind of knew that a little bit of a fix was in there, huh?
Yeah,
it's just the strangest thing. Like what I don't know what was going on.
I like the theory that it was EA trying to do a wham bam against Call of Duty, like in a weak year for Call of Duty. They spotted like a chance to dethrone Call of Duty, and then had these two games to blanket the market, with sci-fi and traditional warfare, and then take it down a peg or two. But I just don't know if that makes sense financially, and I don't know if EA is thinking of things. It would be weird to me if video game companies were thinking working backwards from wanting to knock a game down so that maybe next year Call of Duty isn't easily the number one game or something like that.
EA's just been obsessed with taking on Call of Duty.
That's the one thing that makes me believe it, though. They've been like that forever. They've always wanted to have the number one shooter. And
even at this point, it's who cares anymore?
Right.
You could have had two shooters probably both sell a little bit better if you were just obsessed with toppling Call of Duty in 2016 when Call of Duty is kind of toppling itself anyways.
Right, it's going to kind of naturally decline, but who knows? Maybe this strategy will play out, and maybe when they do have Titanfall 3...
I just don't want to have to hear in 2 years from now, oh, we can't make Titanfall 3 because Titanfall 2 really underperformed.
Yes.
And
if I hear that, I will be furious. I will be so mad at EA specifically. Because that game deserves so much more than it's getting. It deserves a sequel. It deserves Respawn to get a leash or really a lot of slack to do whatever they want in the next game with a huge budget. Right. I don't know.
It's not selling. The game has good word of mouth. It has good reviews. There's literally nothing you could possibly point to say why it's underperforming, except the fact that it came out incredibly close to the other two big shooters and the much longer standing franchises.
I don't know, man. Dudes that do the books can get pretty creative about, people must not want giant robots fighting in shooting games, which is insane.
No, they'll say that crap.
Yeah, that's ludicrous. Of course people want that stuff.
Just
that's
how we didn't have any pirate movies for we didn't have any pirate movies for 30 years because everybody was convinced pirate movies would do bad, and then one of them does well.
Exactly, yes. So hopefully that game its legacy should pay off. It should. And hopefully that we'll get a nice, big sequel. Respawn's also making that Star Wars game.
Well, Respawn itself will be fine because they got the Star Wars thing going.
I mean, and EA has got a close relationship with them. I think they're still independent, but EA is working with them really closely.
I think EA is working with them real closely because they were they bought into the promise of this is another avenue to take down Call of Duty.
Yes.
I think that's the reason they were really interested, anyways.
Yep. Okay, let's get on to some of the topics, Mike.
Okay.
First one's going to be Pokemon Go. Earlier today, Niantic, the developer of Pokemon Go, revealed that their big update for December involves two things. One, Pikachu's wearing holiday hats. So if you go out, you're probably going to find those. And two, basically baby Pokemon. They're not, the rumors were, Pokemon Go is getting 100 new Pokemon from Gold and Silver.
Like all Gen 2 Pokemon.
Right. The reality is, we might be getting 8. So far, they've only confirmed 2, and then they've said select others. They haven't said any other ones, but the Pokemon that you can collect now only will hatch out of eggs, which is something that was in Gold and Silver, right? You could only get Togepi and Pichu.
They were that exactly.
So people are thinking there's 8 Pokemon like that in Gold and Silver that only hatch from eggs. So they're thinking that's what's going to happen here. But who knows? You have to go out and see. It's live now. I'm sure people are starting to discover whatever's happening, although you have to walk 10 kilometers, 10.5 kilometers to unlock any of these. So who knows? But Mike, my question is, are baby Pokemon enough? Not necessarily to save Pokemon Go, but is it enough to get us back into it, to get most people excited about it again?
No, it's one even if this was just if there wasn't kind of the build up to it, right? Where we heard big update and everyone's like, oh, Gen 2's happening, right? Help. No, but even still, because that's just everybody's natural assumption, right? Is that when you add more Pokemon to this game, you're going to add a big wave of them. It'll just be all the Gen 2 Pokemon, because that's kind of what makes sense.
It does.
Because at this point, it seems like there's so many people who are away from it. You need a really big update, almost like an expansion level updates to get people into it. I think slowly releasing 8 new Pokemon every few months or something, that is just the fastest way to slowly kill that game.
Yeah, the drip feeding. So I clearly I think they don't know what the right answer is here. They think they can drip feed some content to hang on to the big spenders that the game surely still has. It's in the top 10 for revenue, usually in the top 5. And when it has an event, it most often does spike back up to number 1. But I think you're right. It could have a summer, like it was back in the summer, it could have a spike back to that level of popularity if it said, okay, here's Gen 2 of Pokemon Go, 100 new Pokemon, some of your favorites that most of you people love because you were still kids then. That was still part of the two good generations that a lot of people have that sort of sentiment about those games. It would, I think, and especially right before Christmas, where on Christmas Day, a lot of people get new phones, a lot new smartphones, and they want something to play. And Pokemon Go, would be perfect for, you load it up. Oh, I was playing on summer on my old crappy phone. I got a new one. I'm going to go to the mall today because I got a bunch of gift cards, on December 26th. I'm going to play Pokemon Go and collect all these new Pokemon. I think that pathway is so obvious to me that I don't know why they're just trying to cling to the smaller, population that they have with this drip feeding content.
And you could drip feed content, but that should be cosmetic stuff, new features. It shouldn't be the Pokemon. That should just be even for Ditto just finally came out forever ago, and we were always what's the big thing with Ditto? It's is there some secret? It's oh no, we flipped the switch. Ditto's there now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Could you have flipped that? We still don't even know anything about a lot of the legendary Pokemon and whatnot. And it's the only thing that was gonna get me back in was that big update, right?
I'm not gonna go and play a ton for the chance to unlock the right egg at the right time.
No.
If I'm not also at the same time collecting a bunch of other new Pokemon around that experience, it's just not enough for me. I imagine it's not enough for most.
No, especially us. We've been playing for a while. We've been playing in our home areas. We have those Pokemon now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless we're just grinding Magikarp eggs because we don't have a Gyarados yet. I mean, it's just.
I'll go out and I'll probably will get the Pikachu with the hat because it's going to be super common, is what it sounds like. They're going to be everywhere. I'll probably just do that just for the hell of it. But then I'm not going to probably boot it up again until there's a lot more Pokemon.
Like that's what the drip feed content should be: is Pikachu's with hats.
Yes,
but like
just that, though, not this.
Is there any chance like next week, like okay, now here's the rest of Gen 2? This was
I think there is a possibility, but it just doesn't sound like it. The way that they're presenting this, it feels like they might do a couple every month. But I mean, there's no evidence of that either. It just feels that way. But you're right. Weird. They should have done this, and then if they're going to do it this way, next week or maybe 2 weeks, maybe right before Christmas, say here is an even bigger event where all the Pokemon are available now. Go out and have fun. If they do that they could still salvage this. But if short of that, this feels just like a misstep. That's just going to continue to push people who are already way further away.
And people seem to be reacting negatively to it. Hey, by the way, this thing says my name's Jason Wilson. Thanks.
I'll fix that.
Yeah, just notice that little. Yeah,
I didn't.
Fantastic.
I didn't pay attention. I'm terrible at this. All right,
but
keep talking.
It's like, do you think they're surprised that people are reacting negatively to this, or do you think once they kind of saw everybody was like, just like the news stories were all like going out there, yeah, Gen 2 is coming. Do you think when that happened, they're like, oh no? Oh, people's expectations.
I mean,
but I think even without those stories, that would have been the expectation.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting a lot more. Hang on, I'm fixing your name. Actually, it's Mike Minotti.
There we go.
Oh no, it's too big. All right, but yeah, it's
Actually, it's mine.
There we go. All right. People on the audio podcast are gonna be, what the hell are they talking
this is how you're fixing it. Nice.
Yeah, totally. I love it.
Yeah, great. All better.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's beautiful. Okay, so I just
it's stupid.
It's stupid.
Niantic messed up here.
Yeah, and I think that they should have panicked when people were expecting a lot more than this. I mean, they have to know their audience by now. That audience is very vocal. They never shut up about things they don't like. They are very vocal about the things they expect, and they were very vocal about this. So it's kind of no excuse, except for maybe there's some technical reason, but I can't imagine.
I have to say, how hard could it actually be?
I mean,
because they're just using the models from the games. They're not like creating these models for the Pokemon.
I mean, I'm sure that we are always guilty of underestimating the difficulty of adding new content, but they do have all the money in the world. They've had time. They knew December was coming up. They knew that they needed to have something big for December. I just feel like no matter how hard it was, plenty of other developers do things that are equally as hard and get it done with less money in the bank. So it's kind of like no excuse.
I just had a random thought. How great would it be if like you get drunk in Universal and you climb up Peach's castle, just like try to find Yoshi, and if like there's actually just some dude who like is dressed up as Yoshi all the time and gives you like 100 what's it get?
That would be perfect.
Gives you 100 like a bunch of lots.
They should those kinds of Easter eggs. That place should be brimming with that kind of stuff.
That would be awesome, actually.
Yes, it really would be. All right, Mike, we're moving on from Pokemon Go. We basically, they messed up.
Whoops.
Yes. So, also this past week, Nintendo had kind of a big week in terms of marketing. They were on Jimmy Fallon, the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon here in the States. And basically they were coming on with Reggie Fils-Aimé, president of Nintendo of America, to show off Super Mario Run. They showed off some other stuff, but we're going to start with Super Mario Run. Now that you've seen it kind of on TV, now that it's available for demos at the Apple Store, not sure if you've tried it or anything, are you more or less excited?
I don't know if I'm more or less excited, but I am pretty excited for this, right? Mm-hmm. This definitely seems like the best suited kind of experience for Nintendo to do, right? The Mario Auto Run. And we've seen, like, with Rayman, that you can make these games actually pretty darn good. If anybody's going to make one of these be pretty good, it'll be Nintendo. So
and it seems like they're doing a lot of smart stuff. They're focusing on the one-handed. It's portrait view, so it's vertical, so you can hold it just with one hand really comfortably. I think you move the which way you're running by like swiping, and then you just tap on the screen to jump. And I think you could do a long jump or a short jump. But like if you come up to like a small enemy like a Goomba, you're not gonna run into him and die. Your Mario just automatically jumps over him, and if you tap the jump right, you'll also bounce on him and get a coin to like upgrade your score or whatever. But it's all like really smart and simple stuff that I think will appeal to a lot of people. But at the same time, the levels look like really smart Nintendo levels with like the secret coins hidden everywhere.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that's getting me excited as someone who's played like every Mario game ever.
There's kind of still this idea that this is like, in some weird ways, like a full Mario game, right? Like we're gonna go through these worlds, and at the end we'll fight Bowser and all this stuff. I mean, my expectations aren't out of control or anything, but I think this will be fun as far as mobile games go. Like I'm not a huge fan of mobile games a lot of the time, but I'm definitely more excited for this than Miitomo.
Yeah, I liked Miitomo for its moment in the sun.
Sure.
But then when everyone stopped using it, and you kind of realized how much work that Miitomo, of course, is Nintendo's like social thing that they did in March, I think, where you could like post pictures of your Mii doing things with other people's Miis, and your Mii's communicated or whatever. It was too much work after a while. Like it took a long time to go through all the questions and to answer everything and to create stuff. There was no easy way. Yeah, exactly. It was that balance was off. Super Mario Run, though, yeah, you're right. I am more excited for it. I think simply because it is a game, and it is Nintendo kind of, I think, really seeing what Pokemon Go did. Again, they don't really own that. They owned like a third of the company that made it. But they definitely saw how well the game did, and I think they were like, okay, let's get a Mario game out immediately. They decided to do that maybe in the summer. It sounds like they made this pretty quickly. Maybe they had some of it already in the works, but they bumped it up to get it out in time for this year, and the results look pretty cool. It's like 24 like worlds, I think, with like 4, maybe it's like fewer than that, but there's like a bunch of worlds. They have like 4 stages each, and so it's not like just this endless runner where you're just trying to get a high score over and over in the same place, or like procedurally generated world. It looks just like a real Mario game, and that's exciting.
I mean, it's that new Super Mario Brothers kind of aesthetic that maybe some of us aren't tired of, but whatever.
Yeah, but so the game costs $10. Like you can download it for free. Costs $10 to unlock everything. But in like 6 months, when they want to remonetize those people, they're gonna be like, all right, here's the Super Mario Brothers 8-bit skin and like level pack, and then you're gonna get that kind of stuff. They're gonna do something like that, and I'd pay another $10 for that.
I would be into that.
Yep. So more from Jimmy Fallon and Nintendo. The Switch was on there. They showed off the Switch, actually this time with live gameplay. So we've seen the trailer before, but it was pretty clear in that trailer that it was they added the image to the screen afterwards. So no one was actually playing the machine in that commercial. On Jimmy Fallon, Reggie was playing Zelda up on a TV. He took it out of the dock. Like 2 or 3 seconds later, it was on that the screen on the handheld. And Jimmy Fallon played that, and it all seemed to work really well, Mike. I'm starting to actually get more hype for this.
Oh, I've been pretty hyped for the Switch. I'm super excited about that. Just that idea. And then there's been some other rumors like that this virtual console will finally have GameCube games, right? So I'm just thinking about like portable Smash Brothers Melee and portable Mario Sunshine, portable Metroid Prime, and just oh my gosh, yeah.
So and that's kind of the question, and I think this is a combination of things. But is Nintendo's marketing for the Switch working? And that that involves going on Jimmy Fallon, but in a separate way, it also involves all these leaks, which I'm sure Nintendo doesn't like. Well, but it's working for me.
But you know what's so nice about this is compared to like the Wii and Wii U eras, right? It's when they're on these shows, it's about Mario, it's about Zelda, right? They're not playing some sort of tennis mini game, and they're kind of celebrating Nintendo itself a bit more, right? Like you have Miyamoto there, and he's playing the Mario theme song with the Roots. It's all kind of fun again, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like that whole segment was like just had me smiling, right? It was just fun stuff. So I think it's going well. I mean, it's hard to tell because sometimes we live on our video game bubble, right? And to us, it seems like a lot of people were exposed to maybe not watching that show live because we're millennials, but we saw it on YouTube
for sure,
right? So it seemed like the outreach was good. But did a lot of other people see that? I'm not sure, but it just seems to me like people are excited about the Switch. And again, it's hard to get your pulse on that exactly just from your firsthand knowledge, but it has to be a good move. It's the Tonight Show, right?
And I think relative to the Wii U, especially, it seems like more people are excited. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot to latch onto to be negative about. That's one of the big things. There's not like Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
there's not much we know right now. Is kind of the thing too.
Yeah, but I mean that's that's part of a good marketing strategy.
Sure.
Strategy, I think. So I mean, like if we're only kind of hearing interesting leaks, and then Nintendo's just coming out being fun, saying here is the basic functionality of our system. It works on your TV. It works, with the Pro controller that Reggie's holding. It works as this portable device. It does all the things we promised, and it's playing Zelda, and it's looking really good. Yeah, here's the reason to get excited about it, and it's working on me, and I think it probably is rubbing off on a lot of other people. I'm sure once that January event comes around and Nintendo starts speaking a little bit more openly about it, we're going to find out some weird Nintendo quirks that we aren't happy about. But so far, they've done a good job of kind of highlighting the best parts and letting us kind of ignore the
those quirks are coming.
Oh, yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
Something strange.
But I'm at the same time, I also think the leaks are kind of fueling this. And do you think they're hurting or helping?
I don't think they're hurting because even the leaks they're not negative ones, right? Like the idea of GameCube games, no one's upset about that. Like what would the negative leaks be? Just like people like guessing about what kind of USB port we're seeing,
Yeah. But even that was like USB-C, so it's like that's forward looking. All right, yeah, and it's
right.
But yeah, like the GameCube stuff. All right, yeah, I want that. I want to be able to play GameCube games. And
the one leak from a while ago that was negative, which it kind of lost steam. It seems less likely the more they keep showing Zelda. Was that Zelda was not going to make launch, right? And that's kind of seems harder to believe.
They are showing Zelda in public as a Switch game. You're right. Maybe the reason they're doing that is because they showed it so much on the Wii U at E3, so it's the one game that they're comfortable like bringing out for these kinds of events. But that also would be weird if that's the game they're showing off at this point and then it's not ready for launch.
Right.
Do you think it's going to be a launch game? Because I'm still not sure.
I do. It's still Nintendo and it's still Zelda. More importantly, Zelda games are always delayed. So who knows? But I really feel like they want that to be a launch game because I don't think that Mario game is going to be ready. I mean, maybe it will be. That would be a big surprise.
Yeah,
but it's hard to believe that the Mario game that we don't know the name of or seen outside of like a sizzle reel is going to be out in 3 months. Right.
Right.
Like what else? Because if it's not Zelda, then what is it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's got to be something.
It's going to be Zelda or Mario, and you're right. In my gut, I feel like it's got to be Zelda, right? Because it's just that game seems more ready. But who knows? Maybe it's not. They definitely teased the Mario game in that first Switch trailer.
Right.
That's coming. We just it doesn't seem like that would be a launch game. I would hope so, but it's probably not going to be both Mario and Zelda. It seems
like the first holiday game or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so that's kind of wraps things up for Nintendo and Jimmy Fallon, and it kind of like Nintendo's kind of push towards its January event, which is coming up soon now. It's like 1 month away.
Where's that going to be? Are they just going to do a direct?
New York City, New York.
The heck? Am I going to that?
No, I think I think you could have, but I don't know if you are. I think we're going to send Willie to it or something. Now we're just talking. Now we're just doing GamesBeat planning on the podcast.
That's what they told me. They did tell me that.
That's right.
Damn it. I'm like kind of close to New York, but not quite close enough.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
I'm sorry I did a swear, by the way.
God damn it, Mike. Call of Duty. This is going to be our last topic.
Oh God.
So Call of Duty doesn't seem like it's selling as well. MPD rumors kind of seem pretty confirmed. CNBC had a report where two sources that are familiar with the MPD report, which will come out next week, it won't have all this data, says that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, that's right, is selling...
That's part of the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. That's pretty bad, huh? Is selling 50% slower at physical retailers than last year. And I don't know if that's necessarily just Infinite Warfare. It might be Call of Duty as a brand, is like all the games, like past catalog releases as well. But 50% slower at retail, that's a big drop for one of the biggest franchises in gaming. The question is, if this is true, which I'm going to go out and probably say this is probably true, can it recover, or is it already fine and everyone's just buying their games digitally?
I think more people are buying the games digitally. I don't think 50% more people are.
There's no.
No, I think it's a combination of a lot of those factors. I think maybe the Titanfall Battlefield thing had something to do with, maybe not that much. Maybe I don't think it's as much as the franchise fatigue we always talk about. The kind of bad timing of this sci-fi thing. You had like the positive of having that Modern Warfare remaster in there, but then it like turned into a negative because a lot of people were like they felt like they were being tricked, like they had to buy Infinite Warfare.
Like people that don't know, you have to buy a special edition version of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare to get Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered. Right. You can't buy it separately.
So like this thing that should have been a positive, like somehow turned into a negative.
Right. They were clearly trying to juice their numbers, and yeah, it's
right. But I mean, it's what you just said. Like you're trying to remember the name of this game. It's just like before this was Black Ops 3, which was sci-fi Call of Duty, and then it was Advanced Warfare, sci-fi Call of Duty. I know this one is more sci-fi than those ones.
The most sci-fi.
Yeah, it's just so sci-fi, everybody, but and it was not what people wanted. And and like some of that's just unlucky because they start making these games kind of before right, and at the time that fatigue wasn't there, but maybe they should have been able to look and see what the other Call of Duty teams were making and being like, is the direction really just to do more of that, like, or is this the time to maybe reel that back in a bit? And that's the thing that might help Call of Duty is that it still has that card to play, right? Mm-hmm. It still has the, hey, we're going to go and make another World War II game or like a Modern Warfare game again.
Yeah, I mean, they can even do something different that is also still in the past. They can make like an 80s war game, which is not something we saw a lot of. We get a lot of World War II, we get sci-fi.
We're going to get a Gulf War game?
Yeah, I mean, something like maybe even like right before that, like some of the smaller skirmishes, like to kind of like bring back like the Russian influence, because that would be hot right now, I think. Mm-hmm. Things like that. But you're right. They have that card to play, but it also feels like Call of Duty is at that point of its life cycle where all Activision annual franchises eventually get. I mean,
it took a while, right?
It survived way longer than all the rest, I think. I mean, at least as the number one selling game almost every year, except for the year that Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. Like, I mean, that's the truth. It was the number one game over and over and over and over again. But it was always going to get to this point, right? Because it's an Activision.
It has to happen eventually, right?
I mean, they did it to Guitar Hero. They did it to Tony Hawk. They're doing it to Skylanders. It's just it has to happen.
Right. I mean, it kind of just happened with Assassin's Creed, even, and that's an Ubisoft thing. But like all these franchises that you annualize like this, it can't keep going. And I do think that we are getting to a future where Call of Duty's not going to go away, but we are maybe going to get to that. Are they going to really have 3 teams making a Call of Duty game every year? It just seems maybe a bit too much. Like maybe we'll get a Call of Duty game once every 2 years. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, they did a Tony Hawk every year for a while after that fell. And then,
they went for quite a bit still.
So I mean, clearly they're going to do the economics. Like they're going to have this line, and it's like as long as it's selling here, even if it's less and less and less, this still makes sense. But it's like once it's going to get to a point where the sales drop below a certain line, and you're right, they're going to pull the ripcord on one of the 3 studios that are working on it, and they might go back to just having 2 studios and saying you only have 2 years to make a game now, but you're still going to have to do one every year, because I think they're not going to like go away from the annual thing. I don't think. I mean, I'd be surprised if Activision did that.
It is hard to see like the next Call of Duty like suddenly doing better, right? Like it just seems like more and more it's got to be hard to get somebody back into it, right?
Yeah, because I mean, like
even if you're playing like that kind of retro card.
That's me though. That's absolutely me. Where I played and loved every Call of Duty from like Modern Warfare, like 4 or Call of Duty 4, like through maybe Black Ops 3 is the one where even before that, Advanced Warfare was the one before that. I was like, okay, this one's not really doing it for me. And now I'm playing Overwatch, Titanfall 2, and these games are doing way more for me now than the Call of Duty formula, which I still have an immense amount of love for the Call of Duty formula, but it's not getting me excited to play that multiplayer the way that like Overwatch is. I've moved on. I'm doing something different, something that feels more modern, and yet still has plenty of these other elements that I love. So I don't know if they're going to win me back, and if they're not going to win me back, someone who did love Call of Duty seriously, I don't know who they can win back.
Yeah, it's just kind of a strange thing, because especially like so many of these shooters now, like Overwatch, right? We're not going to have to buy an Overwatch 2 next year, right?
No way, yeah. And that's the way to do it for sure, especially on PC where you and I play it, but even it's working on console too.
Or even just look at like a Counter-Strike. There's been 3 like releases of Counter-Strike in the last 15 years or so, you know?
Right. And I mean, I would want to make a Counter-Strike today, something along those lines, more than I would want to make like a Call of Duty game that you have to release every year. Like if I were any company, like that just makes more sense.
Right, and that's like kind of the weird thing, right? Is that even in esports, right, as much more popular, I assume Call of Duty is, in that lucrative like kind of esports market, people are, Counter-Strike's more popular. That's
by far. Yeah, it's so far away, and Overwatch is going to be more popular. Already is more popular, I'm sure. That's still Activision and Blizzard. It's the same company. So I'm sure that like Activision sees Overwatch's numbers and says, okay, maybe we could transfer to something like that. But
I think part of that reason is because a competitive player can only invest so much in a game that's going to get replaced every year, and not just like like a sports game where there's a roster change or maybe a new feature here or there. Like it'll be pretty different.
Yeah, and they are getting to a point where the games are starting to feel more similar. I don't want to go on too much about Call of Duty too much more, but I will point out for a long time there was two teams. It was Treyarch and Infinity Ward, and it always seemed like those two companies didn't really necessarily talk to each other or even like each other.
Right.
So the games felt pretty different, and so you're right, they were like way different each year. And now it's like since Black Ops 3 or maybe Advanced Warfare, they've started bringing over a lot more elements from one year to the next, to the point where it seems like they are communicating, and it almost seems like they did that, like they started that continuation at the wrong time, where people like they're bringing forward like the zombie stuff, which people do love, and the zombies are now in an Infinity Ward game. It's the first time that's happened with Infinite Warfare. But it's like some of the movement capabilities that I think people might have liked more in previous games than in like they did it like Advanced Warfare. A lot of people like the movement in that, but Infinite Warfare has Black Ops 3's movement, and it's like as they start like pulling the stuff forward, they risk a situation where it's like, okay, this feels like that game last year that I didn't like, and so I'm definitely not coming back now. There's no way.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting if there's ever like that point where, and I guess it might happen a little bit, but like, is there going to be the game where like the multiplayer fan base is just like, you know what, we're gonna stick with the last one.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's definitely happened a little bit. You're right, but I think it might happen.
I'm sure it happened with Ghost, because no one likes Ghost, right?
Yeah, no way.
It is impressive that Ghost wasn't kind of more of a debacle than it maybe. Like if Ghost had come out now.
Yeah, oh yeah. But right? These things always get paid forward. We saw that with Assassin's Creed, where the one, which one was the really bad one that everyone hated, but
Unity.
I liked? Unity. And then the next year, after everyone felt burned by Unity, the next game was pretty good, but it did way worse. And now they're taking a year off, so it kind of always gets paid forward a year, and then a year or two. So
that's kind of a scary prospect that the next year's might
exactly
really feel the burn of this.
Right, and I think because I think so far the response to Infinite Warfare has been, no one really likes the multiplayer. The single player is kind of okay. People like that. But then there's all these other things. The zombies, people don't really seem to like as much as they have in the past. And Modern Warfare, you're like the way you pointed out about the remastered, people feeling burned by that. Yeah, it sounds like that's still happening. So
and don't forget about EA's master plan to release two shooters. Right,
the truth is, Activision should have just put in 100 Pokemon into Infinite Warfare from the beginning.
Right? Like, come on.
What were they thinking? All right, Mike. I think that might have to wrap it up for this show. I guess, I want to thank everyone for coming. Mike, why don't you tell everyone where they could find you on the internet?
You can find. Thank you for specifying this time.
Yeah, not in the real world. Last time you did,
last time I was giving up my address. It
was bad.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Tolkoto. That's TOLKOTO. I'm also on the Exploding Barrel podcast. That's at ebpodcast.com. And I'm always writing at GamesBeat. Be sure to check me out there. I recently did my ranking Final Fantasy 1 through 15 story, so check that out. Yeah, that's me.
Yep, and I'm also on GamesBeat.com, like I mentioned, and I'm Jeff Grubb Poopbutt. Oh, I see what you did there, Mike. I see what you did.
Oh, I was waiting for that.
He wrote in my script. On Twitter, apparently I'm Jeff Grubb Poopbutt. No, I'm just Jeff Grubb, but Mike pulled one on me. Wonderful. On YouTube, you can find some videos I make at youtube.com/Jeffrey Grubb. And I think that's going to do it. But I think this week we're going to have a ton of stuff. I have some reviews going up, a couple of cool interviews, one about Windjammers, a cool thing they announced at PSX. But yeah, other than that, Mike, thanks for tuning in, and everyone else, thanks for listening.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye. Jeffrey Grubb, Poopbutt out.
Woo.